I've been an artist for 12 years and I've been teaching beginner artists for 6 years. Here are a couple lessons that I hope my beginner students will implement, especially the ones who want a fulfilling creative life. Lesson number 1 is to choose what to be bad at. As an artist, you won't be able to learn all the technical skills in the world. You're not going to be good at everything. So ultimately, you're going to have to choose what you want to do. And in choosing what you want to do, you also choose what to be bad at. So sometimes it can be helpful. Just go through a process of elimination where you choose what skills you aren't actually that interested in. And the only way you're able to make these decisions is by keeping track of the things that bring you joy. If you are a beginner artist who's been drawing for a couple of months now, have you experienced a bunch of different styles of drawing, and have you chosen which styles are interesting to you? Now, if you haven't done that experimenting yet and you're very early on in your process, then do not jump into this step. You need to explore widely before you can start to realize what works for you, what things feel natural to you. For example, if you've gone through my 54 free drawing exercises that are linked below, are there certain exercises that mesh well with your personal voice? Are there certain approaches that work well with you? These are things that you want to pay attention to. So eventually you can write a list of the things that you're not going to be good at. Maybe you're not interested in learning how to draw faces, or maybe you were interested in learning how to draw faces, but as you do it, you realize that that doesn't bring you a lot of enjoyment. You're actually more interested. You feel better. You feel more fulfillment when you draw plants, or maybe when you just draw abstract lines. If that brings you more joy, then you might decide that I'm not going to get good at drawing faces because it's not interesting to you. Now, this takes a lot of introspection. You have to look within yourself and ask yourself hard questions about, what do I actually want? How much of this is driven by my desire for external validation? What actually matters to me? What actually feels fulfilling when I do it? You have to be curious about your own experience while you make your work. And that is how you'll make these decisions. Now, if you're super early in your process, do not jump to this. But as you develop your skills, as you explore widely, you can start to decide which things you're more interested in and which things you're less interested in. And these things don't have to be permanent. You can always come back and change your mind on these things. But I do think it can be a relief sometimes to decide that I'm only interested in certain things. If you're always trying to learn everything and you're a beginner artist who thinks that you need to learn to draw everything, because a lot of teachers will push this idea that you just need to learn all the technical skills so that you can express yourself. To me, that is a lie. You don't need all the technical skills. You actually need very little technical skill to express yourself and have a fulfilling drawing practice. As a beginner artist, you aren't limited in your expression. You might be limited in the language that you use when you try to express yourself, but that doesn't make it any less worthy. It's completely worthy. The art that you make is worthy in itself, especially if it feels good while you make it. So keep that in mind as you go through this process. Write out things that you are able to be bad at, things that you will put aside while choosing to focus on things that are interesting to you right now. And that might develop and change over time. But writing a list for the next couple of months can be very helpful. It can take some of the weight off your shoulders, especially if you've been consuming a lot of videos online. You might have started to develop this idea that you need to get good at everything. So let's put that aside by writing out a list of things that we are willing to just put aside because we're not interested in it right now, and then focus on the things that actually bring you joy, that actually makes you curious. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't challenge yourself. You can obviously challenge yourself, but the challenge should come from a place of joy, love, and curiosity. It shouldn't come from a place of like grittiness and trying really hard to prove your worth. It needs to come from a place of, I'm interested in this. This is actually interesting to me. I'm not doing it well, like do things badly, but I'm still interested in it, so I'm still going to pursue it. So write that list out. And in that process, you also end up writing a list about all the things that you actually love doing. So pay attention to what styles of art are interesting to you, what do you enjoy making, and really pay attention to your personal experience while making art. Lesson number 2 is to limit the amount of art tutorials and courses that you consume at one time. More information isn't always better. There is this lie that if I just consume more information, that'll make the perfect decisions, I'll find the perfect strategy, and all these things are just not true. Art is messier than that. More information isn't always better, especially when you're consuming information from different teachers. A lot of teachers have different approaches and different philosophies. So when you consume content from all of them, those pieces of information will conflict with each other, which means that the more you consume, the less you're actually learning. So what you want to do is to pick a teacher, a course, a specific tutorial, and focus on that for a month, and then switch over if you decided that isn't right for you. Ultimately, what you want to do is find the teachers that works the best for you. The reason why a lot of teachers give out free stuff is so that you can try stuff out, you can try their content out, you can try their tutorials out, and then you can buy a course if that stuff aligns with you. The reason why I give out free exercises is so that people can preview the stuff that I have to offer and actually decide if I'm the right teacher for them. For some of you, I'm not the right teacher, and I will gladly let you go to a different teacher that is right for you. It's not about finding the best teacher. It's not about finding the best strategy. It's about finding the teacher that aligns with you. My philosophy is around the joy of drawing, overcoming perfectionism, letting go of some expectations. That is my approach to drawing. Now, for some students, they want to go the gritty way. They want to force themselves to do tons of exercise. They want to spend 10 years just focused on technical abilities. And that approach isn't the way I teach. Therefore, those students are better off learning from those teachers. So if you are a beginner artist who wants to lead into the joy of drawing, then I might be the right teacher. But you have to make those decisions yourself. You have to look through the content. You have to find the free content that's linked below and then try it out. And then ask yourself, am I the right teacher for you? And you want to do this with every teacher. Just always question, is this the right teacher? Is this the right teacher for this chapter of my life? Some teachers might be more advanced than where you're at. So you might decide like, okay, when I get to that level, when I try to explore that side of the art practice, I'll go back to that teacher. But right now I'm not interested in that. So I'm going to focus on over here where it's something that's a little bit more beginner friendly. So you want to ask yourself these questions and limit the amount of art tutorials that you consume. This is especially important for the students who find themselves consuming more YouTube videos than actually making art. If you are watching a bunch of YouTube videos right now on the art practice, make sure that you just draw along. I'm not going to tell you to just shut off the videos. I know that can be hard to do, but just doodle right now. Grab your sketchbook, do a little doodle. It doesn't have to be anything special. It doesn't have to be a study of any sort. It can just be you just scribbling on a piece of paper, and just make sure that you keep in touch with the drawing practice even when you are consuming content. So keep that in mind. Limit the amount of art tutorials that you consume. If you are someone who likes watching art videos to be inspired, maybe step away from the tutorial side and maybe go into the entertainment side, because sometimes that stuff can be a little bit more fun to watch and it doesn't push you in a specific direction in terms of your education. Lesson number 3 is to keep track of the inner critic. So if you are someone who has perfectionistic tendencies, if you are someone who has a critical voice inside, what I want you to do is keep a piece of paper beside you and just write out the words that that inner critic is saying and just keep track of it. You do not have to change this voice yet, but let's become aware of what that voice is saying, because what you will find is that the more aware you are of that voice, sometimes the easier it will be to let go of some of those things. But at first, let's just start keeping track of those words and just be very mindful of that inner experience. Listen to it, leave it space, and then try to let go of it lightly. If you are someone who struggles with perfectionism and expectations, check out the Inner Artist course, where we start off the course with that, where we grapple with our expectations, because I do think that that is one of the most important keys to enjoying art practice more. I think there are tons of artists right now who struggle with their practice because our expectations have just become warped, and it's made them lose touch with why they love drawing to begin with. The reason why a lot of kids love drawing so much is because they haven't developed all these expectations around what the art practice should look like. So we want to return to some of that love and joy and curiosity. So if you are someone who's lost touch with that, check out the Inner Artist course, but you can always do this on your own. So start keeping track of that. Just be mindful of the inner critic. Now, if you are someone who doesn't struggle with that, then don't do this, which is true for all of these lessons. If this doesn't resonate with you, don't implement this. Every artistic journey is specific and unique. So no advice will work for everyone. Keep that in mind as you go through this and as you go through your creative journey. Always be critical of the content that you're consuming. Always be critical of the lessons that you're learning. Does it actually align with you? When you watch an art teacher, does what they say actually align with what you want? Does it align with the things that matter to you? Ask yourself those questions. Be mindful of the inner critic, and then whenever you are ready, I'll see you in the Absolutely Everything bundle that's linked below, but only if I'm the right teacher for you. See you then. Bye.